Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing an all-timer in its posh iteration, the so-called Sapphire Sandwich Omega Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch. 42 millimeters as ever, the all-time icon approaches 50 years since the moon mission, the original moon mission, Apollo 11. As we approach that anniversary this July, look back and recognize that few watches have been more enduring or more relevant. In fact, a version of the Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch is still certified by NASA for flight and extravehicular operations, that is, spacewalks. So this is still a very relevant present-day utility timepiece. 42 millimeters as ever, it's full-sized and contemporary in the year 2019, and it was downright gigantic by the standards of 1969. It's a little bit thinner than the standard Moonwatch. The Sapphire Sandwich, 13.7 millimeters, a bit more slender than the standard watch with its Hesselite crystal and solid caseback. 48.1 millimeters lug-to-lug. The watch is reasonably compact, and on the strap it's more wearable on a small wrist. The only compact dimension of that watch really is 48 millimeters lug-to-lug. In every other respect, it's a plus-size model. 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs, and whereas the watch in the line of duty is more likely to be fitted to some sort of a textile strap, here we have a rather upscale and formal full alligator leather. Large rectangular scale, substantially bolstered and thick cut. There's a lot of material here. Semi-gloss finish with a monotone stitch. You can see a sheer side showing you those layers of construction. It is a new Omega factory strap. So you can see the calf skin on the bottom is in excellent condition, and it features a deployant clasp, all of high polish, twin trigger release, not friction fit. This one's quite secure, and there's a minderless system underneath this fully finished high polished clasp. So you basically just tuck the strap in underneath the clasp, and when it's sized for your wrist, there's no excess length visible externally, nor are there any minder loops to gather up the excess length. It's a very clean look. This clasp design has been in service for about a decade and a half with Omega, and they got it right out of the gate. Kind of like the Moonwatch itself. Now, the Moonwatch is a classic look. It's had the same basic shape as every Speedmaster and Seamaster, that is, the satin finished mid-case, the polished bevels, the lyre-style lugs, since the mid-1960s. You can also see that the 1965 and forward professional style asymmetric case with its shear guards for the crown and the pushers present and correct. So this is a timepiece familiar in form and style, and yet it continues to beguile the mind simply because of where it's been and what it's done. Now, each will write his own chapter in the Moonwatch history, but this is a timepiece designed for no-nonsense time-telling. There's a tachymeter calibrated for units rather than miles per hour, so you can gauge the speed of something over a standing kilometer or standing mile, your choice. It is, however, calibrated for rather fast-moving objects. The Sapphire is dramatically domed. It's a high box section, so it is designed to give you some of the evocative distortion of the plexiglass, or I should say Hesselite per Omega spec, but without the fragility. This will not scratch. You'll also note that the dial remains, as ever, no-nonsense, high contrast, a matte finish to reduce glare. You can see the dished and sunken sub-registers for constant seconds, chronograph hours, and chronograph minutes. A printed dial, white on black, high contrast, easy to read. That's as it has always been. And for those who don't like dates, well, the Moonwatch has never had a date. It remains a perfectly balanced and unspoiled disc of matte black. Turn it all over and things get a bit interesting. Now, the water resistance is the same, still 50 meters, but the caliber has been substantially enhanced. This is a good-looking movement. It's not just the architecture, which is the same on the 1861 and the 1863, but there's a degree of finish, mirrored, rounded anglage on the levers of the chronograph apparatus, as well as the bridge for the chronograph and the half bridge for the balance. I'm actually quite impressed here. I can't tell the difference between this beveling and hand chamfering. It's that good. Now, specs first. 18 joules. It is a manual wind, 21,600 vibration per hour, cam and lateral clutch chronograph. Everything in action is visible. You can see the cam system or the coulisse operating and cycling. You can see the lateral clutch moving into and out of contact with the driving center wheel. You can see that balance beating away at 6 beats per second. Manual wind, 48-hour power reserve. Satin finishing on the levers of the chronograph. Cote de Genève across the bridges. You can see that all of the screw heads are high polish, which is impressive. And if you look, you can see as I move the watch off axis, the gleam on the edge of these bridges. This is not a mechanical straight bevel. This is rounded and mirrored and downright impressive, and I would not be shocked if there's a little bit of manual finishing in here. I didn't expect that on a series production Omega, but the watch is really that good. This is a handsome movement and a historically important movement. What's the difference between this and an 1861? Well, here the chronograph brake is made out of metal rather than plastic, and in general the level of finish is much higher on this version of the caliber. It's the Moonwatch caliber, only more so. You can see this handsome old-timer and make it yours on the watch box. A full Moonwatch by night. Plenty of legibility.